Assalamu alaikum. So if you're a Muslim that's wanting to get married in Indonesia and you're coming from abroad, you're going to want to know what are the documents that you need. So that's what we want to talk about, inshallah. So alhamdulillah, I myself got married here, so I've actually seen the reality of it as a foreign Muslim. So what I'm going to do is just share what are the documents you need so you can come into the process more prepared, inshallah. So yeah. The point to be very, very aware of is there's no standardized list. So there is no list that anyone can give you across the country where it's going to be what you actually have to give. So a lot of brothers, what they'll do is they'll search on Google and they will just assume there's going to be a standardized list. All of Indonesia, they have this one list which is required for marriage because generally that's probably how it is within the West. So they'll get a list from Google AI and then they'll just prepare this. They'll think, okay, right, this I'm sorted. I've just seen one Google search. That's the list. But then the reality is, it's just not. They show up and then they're told that's not what you need. And then some of them they'll search a bit more, and then they'll realize, why is every single search giving me a different result? Why is different websites giving me a different result? And then they're like, I'm not really certain. I'm just unclear. A lot of brothers, they're either in this thing where they're thinking they are certain because they've had one Google search, and then the brothers who've searched more and then thinking I have no idea. But yeah, that's generally how most brothers are going to be. So the reality is it's up to the discretion. I don't know why it says description, the discretion of the individual office. So the individual office you're going to be getting married in is up to their discretion. So yeah, it depends what city you get married in. It depends what office within what city. And these things are just constantly changing. So there's no fixed list of, okay, I had to prepare this and then you can just prepare those same lists. It's going to be different depending on the office. So how do we actually solve this? It is to get the sister's wali to ask his local KUA office. KUA is the office which officiates the marriage. His local KUA office. Why? Because that's the KUA that's going to be doing yours. What documents they want from a foreigner. So then they'll prepare a list. And to be honest, the likelihood is that they've probably never officiated a wedding for a foreigner within these KUA offices. There's loads of them. It's not like it's one per city. Like there's a load within each city. It's for like kind of like the neighborhood. So likely they've probably just never done it. So they'll probably actually write up the list then and there. But then you're going to have literally, they've told you what they want from you. And a lot of brothers, they just never ever think to do this. So inshallah, you're far ahead of many just by knowing this. So yeah, ideally you're going to get this list before flying over. So let's say you've done the vetting, you've been doing video calls with the wali and the sister on like whilst you're in your home country or wherever you live in, and then he's going to go to the case. Like you've been progressing a bit and you're like, okay, I think we're compatible. I just want to fly over and see the sister first just to make sure, and then we'll get engaged, inshallah. That's kind of the situation you want to be asking this question in. And then you ask him to go to his local KUA, you ask for the list, and then he'll just give you the list, and then you can prepare some things before flying over in advance. So yeah, do it as soon as possible. Like, don't be worried, like, oh, if I ask this, he might think weirdly or whatever, but rather it shows you're more serious. It shows you're actually thinking logically like a man. You're thinking about the logistics. So obviously, like, first call, you're not going to be asking like, okay, what documents can I get married to your daughter with? Obviously, but early on is far better, and then you can prepare in advance, because if you show up, you've already got the documents prepared. You're going to be able to get married sooner, which no brother wants it to be delayed. So yeah, now you've got the specific list from the people that's going to officiate your nikah, so you can prepare accordingly. So yeah, some documents to expect though, like some which it is actually standardized, so you can actually have a better idea, is a document from your country's embassy in Jakarta. So whatever country you're from, if you're going to go to the US embassy, the UK embassy, whatever it is, in Jakarta. So you're going to fly over, most likely you're going to fly into Jakarta, and the embassy is going to be in Jakarta. And yeah, it's called, you've probably seen it if you've done a little bit of research, there's one called the CNI. Now, they've just got different names depending on the country, hence that's what I've mentioned here. CNI, I think that's the US. Affirmation of marital status is the one from the UK. So yeah, the name differs, but it's basically permission from your embassy to get married. Now, if you're taking a second wife, third wife, fourth wife, it's going to be more difficult, particularly if you're from a Western country. But yeah, if you're just taking your first wife, then it's going to be one of these. And yeah, it takes time. It can take like a couple of weeks to schedule this appointment with your embassy. So don't just show up and leave it to the last minute thinking you're about to get married, and then you end up seeing, I can't schedule this appointment for a month. Like, it's not the most ideal. Birth certificate as well. So yeah, birth certificate, which most likely a lot of brothers, they'll fly over and they've left their birth certificate back in the US, back in Canada, back in the UK, and then they just don't have it. So yeah, birth certificate is one of them. Now, for me, I actually did bring it with me. I mean, I was already here before, but I had my birth certificate with me. However, I had to get a new one. I had to order a new one from the UK because my birth certificate, whatever, it was just the one that I got when I was born, and it didn't include my parents' name on it. So they want like I gave it to them. So they like I had the list. I gave them the birth certificates, and then they still said they want it in a different format, which we'll talk about in the next slide. But then I had to order a new one from the UK in a specific format that included my parents' names. Now, yeah, for whatever it's up to their discretion. Obviously. So yeah, I mean, it does take time. I think it probably took like a week. Realistically, these days it's not that bad, but I had to wait an extra week because of the birth certificate. Yeah, surat keterangan sehat untuk nikah. So what is that? It's a health certificate for marriage from a local puskesmas. So you're going to be there. You're probably going to be staying in an Airbnb close to your future wife's place when you're in Indonesia. So you're going to get this when you're in Indonesia. You're going to search on Google Maps puskesmas. This is like the local health center which can issue this certificate. You'll go in there, just say this surat keterangan sehat untuk nikah, and then they'll just do a few little tests on your blood pressure, blah blah blah, and then they'll give you this certificate, which inshallah, if you're healthy, they'll give you it. Another one, shahada certificate. Now, I mean, I am a revert myself, but I think this may apply also to some Western Muslims, like born Muslims as well, because what is this? It's proving you're a Muslim. Now, basically in Indonesia, they're going to assume, because on their IDs it says religion, Islam for the most part, their ID says the religion. So they're assuming that our IDs do. So sometimes you may give your ID and stuff in. Like they may not put, like basically when I told you to get that list, they may not put Shahada certificates or proof of being a Muslim because they're assuming that your passport, your ID says your religion on it. Rather, I don't know a single Western passport which does say that. So yeah, you may ask this. This can be like a follow-up question or an add-on question that the wali goes and asks the KUA is, do you need to give proof that you're a Muslim? But yeah, I mean, it's not that difficult. You can basically get it the next day. You go to a masjid and they can officiate it for you. Yeah, most Western IDs, they don't say it. So this is something that they're not going to probably put on the list, but they may actually want it. So it's good to be aware of. Certified, maybe if you're literally called Muhammad or something, they're probably going to be like, they're probably going to assume you're a Muslim, but maybe they still, like, they're very bureaucratic in the sense that they want like proof that you're a Muslim from like some official documents. So yeah, certified translations of all documents. So yeah, I mean, they've got these in different cities, but it's certified people that they just give you a stamp. Like that's what it's all about here. It's like they have an official stamp or an official signature, blah blah blah, these official documents. But yeah, certified translations. So you're going to go, like, I mean, I found a good one in Jakarta. He translated all the documents and it's very affordable. It's simple. Passport size photos and photocopies of all the documents. Here, you just go. Well, I had to go into a mall and get whatever they take your passport photo, and it's got to have a blue background, for whatever reason. Certain amount of pictures for this, photocopies of all the documents and stuff as well. So yeah, you've got to have photocopies of the documents, photocopies of the translation of the documents, and yeah, that is some. Maybe you'll be told that you need some more, but yeah, some extra notes just so you can come into it even more prepared. For some reason in Indonesia, offices, yeah, this is like I kind of mentioned it before, but they'll give you a list of documents to prepare. They've gave you this, okay, there's a list of 7 documents I need to prepare. You'll then prepare them. You'll give them in thinking, okay, we're about to schedule the nikah within the next 2 days. You'll give them in, but then they'll ask for more. They'll ask for more, and you'll be thinking, why did you not just put these extra ones on the document, on the thing in the first place? Because they're not asking for more because it didn't show on the first ones. It's just they're asking for more for some reason. So you'll be thinking, like, why not just ask the first time? But maybe they have a reason. But yeah, a lot of brothers, they get annoyed within this process because sometimes also they'll tell you to go to a certain place to get the document. You'll go to that place and then they'll tell you to go to another place. And then sometimes even you'll go to that place and they'll tell you you need to go to another place to get this document. So yeah, some brothers, every brother basically gets confused and quite annoyed within this process. So just be prepared for it. Just come into it expecting to use patience. And inshallah, it will make it easier for you. You should also get a prenup. So that's not going to be listed anywhere, but you should definitely get a prenup because within Indonesia, there is secular divorce incentives whereby the woman takes half of the assets. So whatever, and like that includes cash, for example, cash since getting married. So if you've got 50k in the bank, then your wife takes half, even if you earned all the money. And that's like, what's the issue there? It's the fact that it's not Islamic. It's not an Islamic thing whereby assets are split 50% after divorce, and it gives incentive for divorce. It's ultimately a secular law, so you don't want that. So you'd rather get a prenup, which makes it more Islamic. And it also allows purchasing property through your wife. So foreigners can never own property. Now, some people, they'll mention it online that, oh yeah, foreigners, you can come and get property, but you actually can't. Like, you can only get like a very long-term contract. Like, for example, you own that property for like 30 years, for example, but you don't own the property. You still have to give it back after those 30 years. Sort of sell it after those 30 years. So you can't, the only way you could do it is through your wife, but you can't purchase property through your wife's name unless you have a prenup, because it's the same thing. The assets are joined together, whereby if you couldn't purchase it under her name because you're a foreigner, because she's married to a foreigner. So that makes sense. Get a prenup is the gist there. Should cost about 3.5 million. If they say that it's going to require a court process, or they're saying something far beyond 3.5 million rupiah, then that's a very big red flag, and I would go somewhere else. So yeah, no English to be expected. So when I went, like, not one person in the whole office, they could say literally a word of English. But of course, it's their country, so why am I expecting them to speak English? But yeah, I mean, I kind of did expect a little bit of English, maybe. And I know a lot of brothers, like, I'd already been in Indonesia for a while, so I already knew people, they don't really speak English yet. But for someone that's just coming and you've just flown over, you might be expecting English, but just expect that it won't speak a word of English. And also, Google Translate is very dodgy, particularly with stuff like documents and stuff. It just doesn't have a clue about translating. So yeah, that's something to be prepared for. The offer and acceptance. So when you do the nikah, it's called the ijab and qabul, where you officially get married. I had to say it in Indonesian, and I think basically everyone has to say it in Indonesian when it's done at the KUA. So you could have memorized it. I was so scared, to be honest, when I had to memorize this thing, because it's not really that long, to be honest. But yeah, you've got to memorize this Indonesian phrase. You've got to say it so correctly as well. Like, if you don't say it so smoothly and correctly, you've got to do it again. So just memorize that. And ask the KUA, because they're probably, they're going to always assume that the people speak Indonesian, because they probably never officiated a wedding for a foreigner. So just ask them in advance as well, or like either you ask the KUA or the wali asks the KUA what's the actual acceptance that you're going to have to say in Indonesian, so you can memorize it. You'll get a buku nikah, which is a marriage book, once you're married, which is basically proof that you're married. So if you're going to be staying longer term, it's needed for the long-term residency visas, and just for proof of marriage, that's the certificate. So inshallah, those points are beneficial to you. And yeah, if you'd like my help finding a sister, you've not found a sister yet, then you can go to the link in the description, and I will help you find the sister and actually get married in Indonesia, inshallah. You can go to the link in the description, see more information about what I do, what do I not do, and then you can see, do you think it is actually beneficial to you? And yeah, inshallah, we can work together. So yeah, assalamu alaikum.